Hi, guys, and welcome to La Lucha is Real podcast. I'm your host, Angel.
And I'm Edith.
And welcome back. Welcome back.
This is beautiful.
Is this
Monday
the last
morning?
I think this is the last Monday, right, of the month?
Yeah.
For the last Monday of February. I feel like January was so long.
Oh my God. And then February, like a blink of an eye.
Yes. It was just like, boom, and we're done.
I'm like, where did February go? Like, ni lo disfruté bien. Like, it was just, okay, whatever.
So this is actually, we're getting near the end of Black History Month,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you wanted to give us some history.
A little bit of history.
Yeah.
A little bit. I just think, like, there's so many people that, like, contributed to Black history and are making Black history right now, you know? The ones that the people usually talk about, which are amazing, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Barack Obama. But I feel like there's still figures that, like, so many figures that we don't really mention or bring about. And I just kind of want to mention a couple that maybe you haven't heard about. And it's just good to know because, like, no, you gotta know your history. And that includes me.
Yeah.
That includes
And
me.
I also just want to, like, I think I want to, like, clarify that, like, Black history is American history.
Yeah.
Like, it's all in the same, even though, you know, like, they don't really want us to talk about, what is it, critical race theory and all that and class and like in school and stuff. But I think it's important for us to know, like, all aspects.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of Latinos also are like, why do I want to learn about Black history? Black history is part of, like, Latino history as well. Like, it just all, it all is the same, like, kind of the same thing because of Black history, you know, about Black history movements and different things like that. Like, it influenced a lot, like, the different movements that we have as, like, Latinos and Chicanos, you know?
And I also want to say that, like, let's not forget that Latinos are all kinds of races. There's white Latinos, Black Latinos. You know, so it's just like, I think people think, like, Latinos are just like
just Latinos.
it's like their own thing, but it's like, no, there are Black Latinos, there are white Latinos, there are, you know, there's all kinds of Latinos, and it's just like like, I don't even know how to go, you know, this means that I need to know more too. So teach us, Edith.
You know what? I actually recently bought a book that is, like, Latino history in America and Black history in America and how, like, they reflect each other. I have yet to read it, but I just bought it and added it to my TBR, my long TBR.
Yeah.
But
do you know the title?
I think it's that. It's like Latino history and Black history and how they, something like that.
Okay.
But it literally says that. Like,
Okay.
But anyways, so I just wanted to mention a couple people. For example, especially right now, like Lorena Borjas, she was an Afro-Latina, passed away in 2020, and they consider her, like, the mother of like the trans community. She was very big into, like, civil rights, especially when it came to, like, trans people. I'm trying to remember if it was, like, Dominican Republic. Not Dominican Republic. It was Mexico. Era Veracruz. And she came over to the United States for a better life. And because being a trans woman, like, she faced a lot of difficulties. One of the biggest things she did was she risked, like, her life in order to kind of do, like, a little kind of clinic in a way in her home because there wasn't enough resources for trans people so they could get tested for HIV and stuff. So she was really big in the trans community. Y todavía le tienen su memoria, like, really big in that. So definitely a person that I personally didn't even know about, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know either.
And she did pass away 2020 because of COVID related issues. So
That's so sad.
yeah. So,
and it's also sad to think that, like, even right now, like, there's a whole list of words that are being banned from scientific research, which I think is so ridiculous because it's like, there's even, like, certain, like, research that cannot include the word woman. like non-binary, gender. Like, it just, there's so many of these words that are like, and I'm like, dude, this matters. This
Yes.
matters so much because I saw this creator who he's a medical like he's a medical physician, and he was talking about like how these like certain words are going to be affecting research so much. Like, these ban on these words are going to be affecting research so much because there's one particular one that is talking about sorry guys, let me just get a moment to, my ADHD brain is loading still. I woke up so late from like I slept 12 hours last night, guys, so my brain is a little
foggy. It's still waking up.
Yeah, there's a little lag there. Back on track. They were saying that the medical physician was saying basically that these ban on words and research is gonna affect it so much because like there's one that it's like a specific test on like HIV and AIDS, and which is very prevalent in like the gay community. And the fact that they can't even say the word like transgender because and not even just like the gay community, but like people who identify as bisexual, for example, like if there's not enough research being done in AIDS and HIV, which is very prevalent in like the gay community, like imagine people who identify as bisexual who are also having sexual relations with women. And so it's like, who knows? Like, he's basically like saying like, if they can't report on this like truthfully and honestly and like without using these words like that are banned now, like he's like, it's scary what's gonna happen in like, for example, like if a bisexual man has like sexual relations with a woman who identifies like as a straight woman who then, you know what I'm saying, it's just like there's gonna be this like domino effect, and like people who are, you know, trying to ban these words, and it's gonna affect research so much. It's like, don't understand that this domino effect is going to start affecting everybody because people are like, well, I'm not gay, or I don't identify with this community. So how is it going to affect me? And it's a very much can affect you.
Wow. And that goes to show like a lot of people are like, well, it's the banning of a word. How much power can a word have? And that shows like how much really can affect you to the point it's like a life or death situation, you know? And that's the things we can't ignore.
I know. And I've made it a point because there has been like a halt in a lot of like communication between like medical providers across our country right now. And I made a point to start following more like evidence-based doctors. Like there's a whole bunch. Like I know one of them is like Reuben Allergy or something like that.
Is that the one you put me on?
I think so. And then there's a few other ones that I follow too.
The one that's reporting very much on the measles outbreak.
Yes.
Right now, if you didn't know that there was a measles outbreak, well, surprise, Shadi. Where have you been? There's a measles outbreak.
Yeah.
So,
and this isn't it's just because we're not trying to get political here, guys, but this kind of goes to show that policy affects everything. Because basically politics, as people like to say it, is how we're going to target certain problems that we have, like current issues, because how can you not talk about current issues? Like, and that's not because, I want to get political. It's like, no, because being political is talking about how we're going to address issues that are everyday issues. And this is an issue that there is a measles outbreak.
Exactly.
And people aren't talking about it enough.
There we go.
So anyways, continue with our history lesson.
I also wanted to say, like, because of everything happening right now, the trans community has been probably one of the communities that has been very greatly affected. And I just want to say, being transgender is not a thing of right now. It's been in history since the start of the world, guys. Like, it's not a new thing. So, han estado aquí desde entonces y van a estar aquí hasta ahorita. And that's not going to change. So, if somebody wants to, like, try to erase their community, they cannot. Because they're here to stay. Y punto. So, just want to get that out there. Okay, going back to the next one is Jane Bolin. That's how you say it. Bolin, right?
I think
Bolin.
yeah, Bolin.
Just making sure. She was the first black woman judge in the US.
Oh, snapster.
Yeah, she was she served in the New York City Domestic Relations Court for 40 years. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's a really good,
great
like,
accomplishment.
yeah, accomplishment.
And open doors for women in law and black women in law. So that's amazing. Then you have Claudette Coven, which a lot of people know Rosa Parks. She would lead that movement and everything like that. But what a lot of people don't know is that Rosa Parks was not the first like black woman to refuse a seat to somebody who was white. It was actually Claudette Coven who refused giving up her seat in the bus 9 months before Rosa Parks, and she was also a teenager, by the way.
Shout out to our young ones because like I actually saw a video that they were talking about this because they were like all these youngins are going out there and protesting and leading the way on advocating for marginalized communities, and a lot of people are criticizing these like youngins, talking about like, oh, you guys don't know how to protest because they're over here throwing shit at cops, throwing shit around, making a mess and this and this and that. And it's like, instead of fucking like judging them, why don't you join them and try to make a difference?
I was like, why don't you get your ass up and go
do something? And maybe like if you, because like these youngins are out here trying to make a difference, like, and if let's just say there is no fucking right way to protest because people are gonna say something regardless.
Yeah.
People are gonna, whether you do a peaceful one, they're gonna talk about how it's not effective. Whether you do like something que hacen un desmadre, then they're gonna be like, oh, you're making us look bad, which you're never gonna make anybody happy.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to the I am such
but yeah, like it's just, it goes to show, kind of piggybacking on that, how much our young community, like our young people have such an impact and how much change they could do, because Claudette Coven was sparked that movement. Her name might not be mentioned as much as Rosa Parks, but Rosa Parks got where she was and the movement started because of Claudette Coven. So
Claudette Coven walked so Rosa Parks can run.
There we go. So, and she was a teenager. So
snaps to
another
her.
one that she's a little bit more more talked about is and we were just talking about her right now. It's funny because I had her in my list. Was Ruby Bridges. And she has actually...
Oh, you little sneaky one.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's her name? And then you're over here like, I think it's Bridges. But I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I already had switched to her. She was on my list. And I know a little bit more about her because our school, like she has a foundation. And they help schools a lot when it comes to... ¿Cómo te digo? What's the word? Oh, my God.
Diversity?
Yeah, diversity. There we go. And they do like these walks to like show... No, pues no puedo hablar ahora, girl. Alliance, but like also like to speak on the subject of diversity. To like... Awareness. There we go. I was like, guys, I'm over here like Pictionary, like, come on.
Hey, I guess I'm not the only one that's still loading.
Y eso que yo me levanté a las 5 de la mañana, bro. Was obviously Ruby Bridges. She's the first African-American child to integrate in an all-white school in Louisiana. When she integrated into the school, she was at the age of 6, bro. Age of 6. Ruby, and just for you guys to know, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, the civil rights, like that was a long time ago. Like, oh yeah, like
she's still alive, right?
Segregation was a long time. Yes, she is still alive. She was born, I believe, in 1950 something, 1954.
Damn, she's younger than my dad.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people are like, oh, segregation was so long ago. No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't, though.
It's not. And I feel like also like a lot of media, you get kind of control what people think by putting also like a lot of black and white pictures when so people could think it was very, very long time, a very long time.
I have seen that. And
Have
they're
you
like,
seen?
hey, stop doing that. Put those pictures in color because we
Yeah.
know damn right that the fucking civil rights movement was not that long ago.
Yeah, and color existed. Like that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But
What a way for the media to manipulate people.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
saying. A lot of
But-
censoring.
So yeah, so that's a name that definitely is very well known. And then I think my last
I also
one-
want to add something to that because we were
Yeah.
talking about this. Okay, we
for
were
it.
kind of like discussing like how we're going to be approaching these topics and subjects, and we were talking about Ruby Ridges, and that's why I was like, Edith's a little sneaky because I had brought her up or whatever.
and I was like, I think it's Bridges. But I know you're on my list already.
Sneaky one. I think it's funny because there's a lot of people who don't want to involve critical race theory in our education anymore, and they
Yep.
basically want to like basically tone down how much racism occurs in our country because there's people who really don't think that racism exists anymore.
No, there is.
But there is, guys. And it's like a lot of people who are like, well, these are kids. Why should we teach them about racism? And it's things like this, right? If a kid, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges, because she endured so much racism even back then, but this is very much prevalent today. If a kid who is 6 years old is old enough to have racial slurs thrown at them, then a 6-year-old who, you know, is non-ethnic, non-person of color is very much old enough to know what racism is.
Yep.
If a 6-year-old can experience racism, then a 6-year-old of any race is old enough to know what racism is. I just want to put that out there. Continue.
So I just have one more.
Okay.
But I love what you said. I definitely snaps to that because completely, profoundly believe in that. You know, my last one that I have on my list was George Washington Carver, which he's one of
I think I have heard of him.
yeah, one of the pioneer scientists, one of the greatest scientists in the 20th century. He helped a lot with it was like the poor farmers in America, like by different inventions, and he was a botanist. How do you say that? Botanic.
I know what you're trying to say.
Bro, I got load. But it was like a I don't know. Pues algo
Botanical?
con-
Botanical? No.
Pues con
I know,
plantas.
a botanist.
Yes, there we go, botanist. So he, like I said, was one of the greatest black scientists, a scientist period actually in
Yeah.
the 20th century. So props to him. He also had like really famous quotes that you might have heard. Let me bring him up. One of them is, anything will give up its secrets if you love it enough.
Okay.
And then the second one, which really relevant, education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom.
There we go.
So, you know what? So, yeah, I think in today, like, I feel like, especially for this month, it's just taking the moment to, you know, appreciate and learn a little bit about, like Black history, especially in February. I mean, you should always be learning about it a little bit, you know. Pero especial en este mes, you know.
I also don't like, let me give my opinion on that. I just don't like how people are like, oh, we're not really going to be teaching Black history no more. And like, it shouldn't even be called Black history. It should be all in the same because it's history.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about history all around, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I fully understand why they like to kind of like, you know, put it its own thing. Like, oh, let's talk about Black history. Let's talk about Latino history. Let's talk about, because it's like, I feel like it's so looked over.
Yeah.
That it's like we want to bring attention to it. That does not mean that any other history is less important.
Yeah.
It does not mean that.
I agree.
It just means that like it's overlooked.
Yeah,
And
I think it's just more so to bring importance to this, to the events that happen and what led to it, and like the different movements. Because como tú dijiste, it's like just looked over that it's like, okay, we have to make sure that this is talked about. So, yeah, take some time. We have these great things, these great computers, these great processors that we use every single day. And it's really easy to just kind of like find out something new that you didn't know. So do your research. I have always, like, I stand on this, and I think we also stand here. Education is key, So, yeah.
I know it's so crazy how they say that, like, our phones, like, technology is so much further along than the technology that they used to put the first man on the moon.
You see, oh yeah, that's crazy to me.
That is insane to me, because if the technology back then put a man on the moon, it's crazy to think like what we have at our fingertips. But it's also so sad to me that, like, because this is such amazing technology, people use it in such, like, bad ways, like, and it's so sad to me that, like, something that could be used to, like, continue to progress us forward is also being, like, I don't know, I feel like there's so many different things going on right now that people are trying to use this kind of technology to, like, censor us or, like,
to regress. Yeah, I agree. I feel like also, like, when it comes to people saying like, oh, like, I wasn't aware of that, like, I get it once or twice, but like if it's like major things happening in the world and you're like, oh, I don't want to speak on it because I'm just not educated enough, you have your excuse right then and there. But I feel like we also you spend so much time on your phone, like you can't spend like 10 minutes researching a certain topic or what's happening in current events. So
it's just really like there's no excuse type of thing,
Like nowadays, ya casi no hay. You get me? Unless you're like, I don't know, bro. There has to be some extreme.
No, but it's crazy because even Amish people know what the fuck is going on. Yeah. They're against technology.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think it's an excuse, especially when you have like very popular people, like very influential people, being like, oh, I'm not just gonna speak about it because I'm not educated enough. Like, if the common person can find like 10 minutes to go ahead and do a little bit of research, you don't have to be the most educated, but just be aware of what's happening. Like, why can't you? You get me? Technology is right here. You spend probably like hours on TikTok, Instagram, or anything. You can't sacrifice a little bit of that time to like really stay up to date and be part of the solution.
100%.
So that's me. My opinion.
We also wanted to bring, and I feel like most people should have already seen this by now, because it has been circulating social media a lot. But we did just want to talk a little bit about Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, because it is so devastating what happened to her. And I have seen it kind of circulate social media, but I feel like it needs to be talked about more for so many reasons. Do you want to tell, for those of you who don't know what happened to, or who Jocelyn Rojo Carranza is, do you want to share a little bit about?
Well, you should know. I mean, you watch this podcast enough, you should know, like that, to stay up to current events. But she's basically a sixth grader que lamentablemente committed suicide because of bullying. And it was specific bullying. It was like
it was targeted bullying,
right? About ICE and being deported, her family being deported and everything. That's so far what we've seen on news media. And this was in Greensville, Texas.
Gainesville.
No, mi mente no está procesando. Gainesville, Texas. And it's just, completely devastating and heartbreaking that a sixth grader,
11 years old, guys, 11 years old,
took her own life because of this, And it goes, like, there's a lot more details too. Like, for example, like, the fact that her mother wasn't aware of the bullying until after her death.
Which I have so many thoughts about that, because it is insane to me that this little girl had been bullied about, her family getting deported and that she's going to stay all alone and this and that. And she had the courage, because I know not everybody does. She had the courage to go to a school counselor to even talk about this. And she had been seeing a counselor about what was going on. And the fact that the school did not do anything about it, didn't even tell her mom. Her mom did not know until after she passed away, because she was found unresponsive, I believe, February 3rd. And then sadly, on February 8th is when she passed. So it is so sad to me that it just took so long, because I think the school had already started like rumors, and because they're like a largely Hispanic populated school, and there had already been a lot of speculation and rumors about deportations and ICE and all of this, that the stuff that's going on. And I also think this goes back to education, right? I just feel like our kids who, they might be a little uneducated about current events. I feel like we need to start having these conversations in the household more often, because kids, it's monkey see, monkey do, right? So like all the kids, the only thing kids have is what they're seeing at home and what they're seeing out in the world, even outside of the home, and don't know really what's going on and don't know how to process or know the intricate details of what is going on. But they're going to get like this very like vague, what is it called, example of how to respond or how to think about certain issues, and that's what they start projecting onto other people, not knowing how hurtful these words can be and actions,
how devastating it could be, and that it could cost somebody's life because of those actions. It's just todavía están investigando from what I've read. They're still investigating. It's honestly so heartbreaking, especially I'll just speak on the school level. The fact that the school didn't notify the mom is just beyond me. And we did a little bit of research. Because I was like, how can the school not notify the mom? Like, what? Because here in Nevada, there are certain regulations, like parents being notified and how you go about somebody that is trying to commit suicide or that vocalize like they like bullying and everything like that, right? We do have social workers in most schools. I say most schools, kind of not really. This is just here in Nevada, right? Kind of not really, because we're very underfunded. So, but that's a whole other topic. And then the Department of Education is being
gutted.
Yeah. Which is no help at all. So affecting these programs as well. So that's a little whatever rant. But we were looking at the Texas Education Codes or laws in regards to bullying. And then in Texas Education Code, Chapter 37, section 37.0832, it does talk a little bit about how they're supposed to go about bullying in school, and how the parent in section 4 part A, sorry guys, I'm over here like section 4 part A, basically it says that the parent of the victim who's being bullied has to be notified within 3 business days of the incident being reported. So you're telling me that like this wasn't reported to the parent? Because the thing about it is that
your phone is gonna fall.
Oh, the mom didn't find out until
after
the death of like Jocelyn. The fact that like she knew she was seeking out help at school. Let's say, I'm just putting in like an example. Let's say Jocelyn went the day before she decided to take her life. 3 days, like that's still like the school still should have contacted the mother while she was in the hospital. No? But nothing.
Even if it was the day before, I think because it includes business days, it should have still been before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It still should have been before. Like, there's no excuse. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's like saying that Jocelyn went like the day before.
Yeah, we're being conservative about this.
Because based on like the reports, it seems like she was going to
Like it had been more than one visit to the counselor, right?
Exactly.
Is what it looks like based on like the reports we had seen.
Yeah, and then the superintendent, right, was in the report within CNN, said that he wasn't, their office was not notified of like the severe incident, because this, like the bullying in regards to ICE and race and everything like that, it's a severe incident, you know? Especially because she wasn't the only student that had notified the school. Like, she wasn't the only student that vocalized that there was this bullying going around.
Here's quote from the CNN report. It appears the school was aware of it all, but they never told me what was happening with my daughter. It appears that she would go once or twice a week to counseling to report what was happening.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
And the school never notified her. This is so disheartening because I'm not a parent, but if I had a child and something was going on with them, I feel like it is the school's duty to notify me something that is happening to my kid.
Well, based on the
because we're
the law, it is.
We're basically, yes, exactly. Especially in the district that you just looked up, it's a part of their code is to tell and notify parents of what is happening to their children. Like, we are trusting the administration and the staff at schools to protect our kids. We are literally handing you like precious life, and you are not notifying. And I know that like schools are so underfunded and there's just so much going on in that realm in itself. But this is very, very, very serious. Yeah. Like, I feel like this needs to be taken care of. Like, the fact that there's not an arts program in a school is far less important to me than the safety and protection of my child.
My phone fell. But yeah, I agree. I think obviously they're still investigating the whole thing, but it's just on a school perspective, I think the school did very wrong in not notifying her. Yeah. Very wrong in not following, and it should be held at fault to a certain point as well. Because you don't know the difference I would have made if the mom knew that she was being bullied this way. She could have gone outside of her, like above and beyond, to try to help her, and she could have still been here, you know?
Yeah. It's so sad. I'm also trying to look for because the district superintendent had something to say, and I'm just like, dude, this is such a cop out. Like, this is sad to me.
Talking about the safety, or
yeah, I believe this is it. Let me see. Whenever we receive a report of bullying, we respond swiftly to ensure all students are safe physically and emotionally. While we cannot release any information about specific students or incidents, our schools have several policies in place to combat bullying and resolve conflicts, is what the district told CNN in a statement. But I'm like, you kind of didn't, because she had already been seeing the counselor, 1 or 2 times a week or something? Yeah. And you still didn't notify the parent? That's kind of insane.
Yeah. Honestly, bullying in itself is such a huge problem in our school system. And that goes to like all around the country. That's all around the country. And
I just want to say, like, our hearts go out to Jocelyn's family.
Yeah.
We hope, her soul is like resting in peace. And it's just so sad. It's so heartbreaking that this even happened. Yeah. And and not only that, but the way that people are responding to what happened to her.
Don't even get me like started on that girl.
Because
that got me pissed.
Yes, guys, like, this is disgusting. The fact that a little girl lost her life and the way that it's being even just politicized is insane to me. Like, I totally get, like, the whole, we don't know whether or not her family was undocumented or not. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter at this point when a little girl lost her life and felt that she didn't have any other option. And the way people are responding to this, I actually want to make light of this, because this is how disgusting people are And it really just pisses me off that there's people who are saying these things. Because I do want to fucking bring out and say what they're saying, because it's like we need to realize that this is like real people out there who are having these thoughts after
grown people. Emphasis on the grown. They're adults.
Yeah. Here's what people are commenting on what happened. Someone said she has been deported. So did her illegal alien parents get deported? Asking for a friend. So more where they came from. I'll care when they get suicide equity. Blame the parents, they failed her. Self-deported. Murdered by her parents. These are different people, by the way. Fake news, fake news. This is what happens when you don't teach your kids to respect the laws and want to have a victim mentality your whole life and expect others to pay for you. Wouldn't be a problem if they lived in their own nation. MAGA is winning. Maybe don't break the fucking law. As sad as this is what happens when adults around her won't tell her that as long as she's legal, her and her family are safe. If they are not, they must come back the lawful way, like so many before her had to. This is terrible. This is why Biden shouldn't have opened the border and caused all of this in the first place. Her parents' fault. Who gives a fuck? Deport the whole family. Laughing face. No, this is what happens when you encourage weak minds. Shit happens. And there's more. There's more than that. But it is so fucking devastating that people like that fucking exist. Can't even have the fucking empathy to be like, rest in peace.
She was just a little girl.
She was 11 years old.
She was just a little girl.
What happened to protecting our kids? Or does that only matter when they're here documented?
Exactly.
Or natural born citizens?
Even then, it doesn't matter, because then we're over here defunding all these programs to help kids. So
doesn't sound very pro-life to me. It's so fucking sad, guys.
That's fucking disturbing, bro. It's fucking disturbing that people are like that and lack complete, utter empathy. Complete empathy. And that's who we're living around, guys.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back, guys. And we're back, guys.
Hello.
Just needed a little moment because that was just very heavy for us. And I'm sure it's going to be heavy for some people too, especially people who have kids, you know, and
or parents.
It's very turbulent and uncertain times right now, and it's a little scary. I did actually want to talk about, just change it up a little bit. Did you see that nuestros premios, I believe?
Premios lo nuestro.
Okay, someone fucking said it the other way, and I was like, oh, fuck. Me. I said it different.
Premios lo nuestro, yeah.
Premios los nuestros. Okay, first of all, did you see that Becky G, Ángel Aguilar, and Leonardo Aguilar won best, ranchera song of the year for ¿cómo se llama la canción?
Por el contrario.
Por el contrario. I love that song.
Yeah, that one's a really good song, so well deserved. Oh my God, did you see that?
But did you see how like Ángel Aguilar brought up like there's mixed reviews?
Yeah.
How she brought up,
I haven't
like,
seen people talk. Let me see. What have people been saying?
So, because when they accepted their award, Ángel Aguilar was like, this award is dedicated to all of our, like, immigrant community. And she, like, started bringing awareness to what's going on or whatever. But there is a mixture of, like, how people thought about that. Mm-hmm. Some people are saying that, like, good thing she brought it up. Like, yeah, snaps to her. But other people are saying, like, she's doing it for clout.
I mean,
And I'm like, because they're saying that, apparently they're like, dude, you have a huge platform. Like, why don't you talk about it more on your own thing? But it's just like, it's an awards that tons of people
yeah.
like, what is it, tune into? I don't know. What do you think?
It's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, do I think
Like, she did it for personal gain?
Yeah, I want to hope not.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I feel like I want to believe in the good of people, and that when they bring up these topics, it's not for personal gain. So that's how I see the things. Like, I want to hope that they're not doing it. And if they are, that's in their conscience. Like, en su conciencia. That they're going to have to answer to later on to that. But, I mean, for now, it's like, I feel the platform that they were given, they like it was used, and they would use. And I feel like if I were in their place, yes, I would do the same. I would use the platform to speak about the problems and the issues affecting our community. So that's all.
100%. Because they're also, what they're saying is that there's a lot of other people who have a huge platform and are not, it's crickets.
Yeah.
Worse than crickets. They're not even like bringing up these topics, these issues of what's going on. And actually, we talked about them before, but Grupo Frontera is now under attack again because Raúl de Molina from, if you guys don't know, he's from...
They calling out people.
Yeah, he stayed calling out people, especially his co-host.
Oh my God, yes.
He stayed calling out his co-host. But Raúl de Molina, he is El Gordo from Gordo y la Flaca. That's kind of like one of those like
gossip shows.
Yeah, it's a gossip show that is like huge in the Latino community. Yeah. And he stayed calling out people. And he, on the red carpet, straight up asked Grupo Frontera, because you know how before there was that whole like speculation that they are, you know, Trump supporters.
Yeah, because it came out that like some of their family members were celebrating the win.
Which then it took them so long to even address that. It was like, I want to say like more than a week to address those rumors and everything, and basically put out this like thing on social media on their stories that like, oh, of course we stand with our people and this and this and this and that, but we just don't like to make things political. La, da, 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 da. Honestly, a lot of people were like, oh, finally you said something, but then there was also a lot of people that were like, it's a little too late, like too late. Come on. It's like you it took you so fucking long to address this. Why? Yeah. Is it because you felt pressured to? Is it because now you're trying to do damage control? That's what it's giving, damage control. Yeah. Versus like, oh, I actually want to like advocate for our people or whatever. And it wasn't even advocating. It was more like defending themselves. It was trying to like excuse what, you know, all that them, you know, not coming forward with this. But Raúl de Molina on the red carpet asked them like, hey, like, so what do you guys think about what's going on with, you know, the immigrant community? Like, what's going on in La Frontera? Because their name is literally Grupo Frontera.
Oh, yeah. He was like, como ustedes son Grupo Frontera, ¿qué piensan de lo que está pasando en la frontera?
Yeah.
I think that's how he worded it.
Yeah, some way. But I was like, oh, this man knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he was giving the people what they wanted.
Exactly. And snaps to him, even though I have heard some negative things about him.
I've heard some
negative things about him. But snaps to him for that. Their answer is did you hear their response?
Yes.
Their response is like, we love everybody. We just want peace and love. We're not political, blah, blah, blah.
We do music.
We do music.
Not like, something around that. Like, we do music, not politics or something like that. And if you don't peace and love for everybody.
Yeah, peace and love for everybody. If you don't believe us, go look up the videos. Maybe I'll do like a little snip with this and I'll insert video here.
Yeah, but like, that's the thing about it. Like, in all their faces when they were... when they were asked that question and the guy who talked, they were just kind of like you just look at their faces in the background too. They were just
was giving rehearsed. It was giving rehearsed because the guy did not skip a beat. Yeah. He was media trained.
Like, he knew
if they ask you anything, what are you gonna say?
But I just feel like in order to show support, I get it. Some people don't want to bring politics into it because I don't know, whatever. I just think like if you really supported your community, you would have answered that differently.
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you
100%.
really cared about what's happening in your community and the people in the audience who listen to you,
Support you.
yeah, who that the reason you have money in your pockets is because of them, you would have said things differently. You would have said things. Even my mom was like, "What bullshit answer is that?"
Exactly, because that's what it was. And I just want to say, being apolitical in a time like this is not a neutral stance. It is privilege. It's privilege because maybe it's not affecting them personally.
Yeah.
But just because it's not affecting you personally does not mean it doesn't exist. And there's so many problems in people being affected right now. And it is just so sad that someone who profits off of the Latino community like that.
It's sad but not surprising.
Yeah.
It's not surprising because how many artists, creators, influencers, people who have large platforms are doing the same thing. It's not surprising. It's sad. It's sad, but ¿cómo dicen? El peor enemigo de un mexicano es otro mexicano, or el peor enemigo de un latino es otro latino.
Really, it really be like that. They only want to claim their Latino card when it
comes to money,
benefits them. It's so sad, but I don't know. I was just like, damn.
I know. I feel like if you didn't want to make it, I guess, political, there could have been such a different answer. And you're like, well, Edith, what answer would you have said yourself? I would have said something around the world. Even you don't have to mention the president or anything. It's just mentioning like, it's devastating what's happening right now. It's devastating what's happening to our community, and our heart goes out to them.
There we go. That says a whole lot more than
we just do music. Like peace and love.
Peace and love. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
And then that's the powering words, guys. Like,
yeah.
It's just cuidadito con lo, like, pay attention to how people word stuff.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that.
Very much so. Very much so.
So.
It's so crazy. I actually had another topic that I wanted to bring up. I just don't think right now. I don't know how to segue
you
into it.
How to pivot it?
Yeah. I don't know.
So maybe are we gonna stir the beans a little bit or what?
No.
It's not a controversial topic?
In the Latino community, no.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just a controversial topic at all. Like in general.
Period. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe should I just say pivot and pivot?
Yeah, just pivot.
Pivot. So I actually wanted to get your thoughts on this because we're pivoting now. Pivot. If you didn't get it the first few times, I saw this video and I kind of want to get your thoughts on it because I was like, this is interesting. This is stirring the pot because it's not just something that's within the beans. It's not the beans.
It's stirring the pot.
It's just stirring the pot. Okay. This creator is basically saying like, you know what? Let me just play the video for you.
Yeah, just play for our amigos so they can
Okay. Let's see.
If a man's not out hustling you in a world literally designed for him, then what is he doing? I just had my mind blown. I just watched a video from another creator, and she was talking about how she had watched a video where a man basically said, do not ever entertain a man that you're out hustling because that man is literally living in a society that was designed for his success, whereas you are not. So if you're able to outperform him in an environment that was literally designed for his success and not designed for yours, then what kind of a life do you think you're going to have with this man?
Thoughts?
110% agree. I agree. First of all, that's very true. I like how she brought up the point that it's like it's a man's world, and the fact that you're not hustling and thriving, and I'm thriving more than you in a man's world where you have more privilege than I do, baby, we're not meant to be. Also, ambition is a big part of personally why I in a relationship, it's a big part. You know, I can't be with somebody who's not ambitious. And the fact, like, if I'm out hustling them, it's like, oh, then it's just not going to be a match. It's not gonna be. I mean, some people might be okay with it. I do, ¿verdad? I do, but just think
And
about that.
don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of very educated women. I think it's kind of, it's one of those things. It's like I think this is why a lot of men are intimidated by educated women who are thriving and stuff, because it's like, fuck, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and they can't stand to see women thriving like that.
Or doing better than them.
And doing better than them. And I'm like, and it's kind of crazy, because it's like, everybody, I think there's a lot of circumstances, right, that can play into like why someone isn't thriving. But it's the ones that get their ego hurt that is just kind of like, why aren't you doing better?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like como tú dijiste, a lot of men will get intimidated. And I've ran into those men that are more intimidated because of like everything you're doing, right? But a man who knows what they got and he stands their ground and knows is not insecure, and he knows what he's doing to get ahead in life, is not going to be intimidated by you, you know?
So let me just stir the pot a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Does that mean, like, going back to what she was saying and everything, does that mean that what? I'm trying to pick my words. Okay, so what are your thoughts on a relationship dynamic where the woman, like, they're both successful, but the woman is more successful? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like when you get in a relationship with somebody, I definitely think for me, I'll speak on myself. Like, ambition has to match. A match, or else it's not gonna work. The thing that maybe I'm like doing maybe a little bit more than you, but if we still have the same ambition and we're just like, you know, a lo mejor yo estoy acá y tú estás aquí, but you're still constantly working on it, like, it's not something that's gonna be like, oh, you're less successful right now than me. Like, oh no.
So what I'm getting
I can't be with you.
What I'm getting from what your answer is, ambition level has to match, but results don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, not necessarily. Tampoco, like, how can I say this? I mean, there's a lot of factors that can play into it, but yeah,
especially like, because especially like, not depending on like what they're even hustling. Like, what are you hustling? Because if you guys are both hustling the same thing, there's different things that can play into it. But
for example, let me put this example, okay? When I was working my like banking and had my house and stuff like that, not especially at such a young age, not a lot of like men that I was dating had that same results, right? But like, I've met certain men that had that same ambition, like, oh, I'm gonna get there, I'm just not working the same route that you are. You know, I'm not taking this direction. I'm actually right now creating my business, and I'm doing this and this and that. So a lo mejor we measure success differently. And maybe to my eyes, because you don't, like, I'm just putting this in an example, because you don't have a house, I feel like a little bit more successful than you. But at the same time, it's like we're working different routes. So I can't even compare it that way either. But there's still ambition there. There's like, I might not have that, but I'm creating my business. I'm hustling my ass off to do this. So
there has to be proactive ambition.
Yes.
Proactive ambition where, like, they're not just like people who are dreaming of having a certain lifestyle or certain like results from certain goals and stuff like that, but there actually has to be like this active ambition where it's like, yes, I have all these like goals and stuff, but like you're actually you're doing something to get there, you know?
Exactly.
There has to, 100%, because I know I was in like, okay, I know this is like stupid, but like when I broke up with a middle school boyfriend because he just was not ambitious. He was not, I was like, baby, you're not ambitious enough for me. Like, I have all these goals in my head, and the fact that he couldn't even think past the next, like he couldn't think past the next week, which I get it. Like, there's a lot of factors that play into that. But like, he just was like, I don't know. Like, it was not enough for me.
But it's because people are like, Because I feel like I've tried it. I've tried it many times with men that don't have the same ambition as me. I've tried it many times, and you can't say I haven't. Angel, you can't say I haven't.
No, I know.
And I give them the chance, but at the end of the day, it's like I can't. How can I say? I'm over here hustling my ass off to accomplish my goals and stuff, and I don't see you doing the same. It's just not gonna work out because we just don't see life the same. And it's not saying like we're not both like, oh, you're less successful than me. It's not that. It's the fact that you're not doing whatever you have to do. Like, you're not hustling in order to like accomplish your own goals or your own aspirations, or you don't have any. How is that gonna work out? The thing about it is that when you're looking for a partner, it's like, it's not to just like give the really nice guy a chance. You're building a relationship with somebody. You're deciding to spend a lot of time, maybe even a majority of your life with them. How are you not gonna really analyze and see if you're a compatible match, especially in regards to that?
Yeah, I think it's I think like ambition and complacency, like there's gonna be so much like rigid, like there's gonna be a lot of tension, or what is it, adversity in a relationship when ambition and complacency are like, it doesn't match, I think, because I just, like you said, I can't, like, for example, like, I know, like, Val is super ambitious. He's always fucking hustling, always trying different things that and wants to get ahead and stuff. And I just couldn't imagine with someone who is, like, okay, just like clocking in, clocking out, and then that's it. Like, there's nothing more, like, doesn't want to build more for themselves.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But that's not who you are, though.
But that's not who I am. Exactly. So it's kind of like, I feel like it would be a little bit frustrating for me because I'm like, you're okay with where we're at, but I'm not. You know, like if someone wants more for themselves and the other person's just like clocking in, clocking out and calling it a fucking day, and that's it for them, which there's nothing wrong with that because some people are okay living like that. As long as I feel like, and the world is not black and white, right? This is not a blanket situation for everybody, but I feel like it will cause some tension because let me give you an example of how it could cause tension, right? Because someone who is very complacent with where they are, they're okay going to work, coming home, and then they can watch a football game or play video games or watch TV for the rest of the night. And the other person left their 9 to 5, and now when they clock out, they're clocking into their own personal like goals and stuff because they want more for themselves, or like let's say they don't even just have a 9 to 5, they're trying to build a business. Like this is like a 24/7 like hustle mentality, like someone who has a 24/7 mental hustle mentality, and they're constantly trying to like do bigger and better things. The other person's gonna be like, oh, why can't you just like watch TV with me? Why can't you just like, it's gonna cause that tension because the other person is like, baby, I'm trying to fucking build a future for us. I'm trying to someone who's constantly trying to work and get more money and stuff, like there's a healthy balance, right, between like working yourself to the ground and also, you know, like, okay, I need to take a break and stuff. But like someone who's completely complacent is not gonna understand why you're constantly doing all these things. They're not going to understand, and it's going to cause tension in the relationship because like someone who is as ambitious as Val, like he completely is very understanding and knows how much like we do for the podcast, for example, right? Like I'll be like, oh shit, I gotta fucking snip something real quick, and like I'm over here editing videos on my phone, this and this and this and that, and he's like understanding of that, you know. Obviously there's a time and place for everything, but when it comes to all like me talking about like, oh my god, like this is what we want to do to grow the podcast, this is what we want to do, you know, like all these things, to him it's not like, why do you just keep talking about that? Like, why is that all you talk about? Or why, you know what I'm saying? Like, why, like, because I'll be like, oh my God, that's a good topic for the podcast or this and that. And like, to him, it's like he has this, like, if not the same level of ambition, but more ambitious than me or whatever. It's very much like kind of the same ballpark of ambition level. But he understands that too, because it's not like he doesn't separate the podcast from me. It's kind of like a part of who I am because of how ambitious and creative I like to be. Yeah. You know, and for him, it's the same with his business. Being a barber, it's like, oh my God, like I saw this barber do this and that. And it's just like, to me, it's like we're both trying to keep growing. And like when someone is okay with staying where they're at, it's going to cause tension in the relationship.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree with what you're saying.
No, just like one of my relationships, I did break up with him specifically because of that, because our ambitions didn't match, because he said something to me that I was like, I don't want to be with somebody like that doesn't understand where I'm like, why I do what I do, you know? Like at the end of the day, this is a partnership, right? So this person, whenever that was before I was trying to buy my house, and I was in the process of buying my house, and I was stressed because I was like, I have to do all this, and I really need to, that was one of my main goals. I needed to accomplish this, and I was vocalizing that to my partner at that time. And I remember we were driving, and he told me, he's like, but like, why do you have to do so much? I like literally stopped, and I was like, did this man really just tell me that? Like, why do I have to do? He felt like that me trying to accomplish my goals, a really big goal that I had for myself, was doing too much. And that's when I knew, I was like, this is not right.
It's not going to work.
This is not going to work out, because you're okay, like, being very complicit. Like I said, it's not a problem. It's just for me, myself, and I. It's not going to work out. So, yeah.
Yeah. So figure out where your level of ambition is, and I feel like go from there.
Yeah. But then again, there's couples that are okay not having that same level of ambition. You just have to be real with yourself on what you want and what you're looking for.
True.
Because there's a lot of couples that are like, let's put example, a trophy wife, you know? Some girls just want to be a trophy wife, like no kids or anything, just live their life. They don't want to like do anything, and they're perfectly okay with that. And the man that they want is somebody like ambitious, and that ambitious man sometimes is like okay with not having his woman like not be like that, you know?
That's
just
true.
living.
You know
living.
what? That's true.
And that's completely okay. That's completely okay, as long as it's something that makes both of you happy and that works out. And I feel like me and Angel are just talking based on what we want in a relationship, in a partnership, or what Angel has, you know. But it's completely okay. If you're completely okay clocking into a 9 to 5 and you're okay with your partner doing the same, that's great. You know, like it's just.
But there has to also be a level of understanding.
Yes.
There also has to be a level of understanding of like, okay, like maybe you're not as ambitious as I am, or like maybe like you can carry the fucking financial load a lot better than I can. Like there has to be some kind of understanding and like agreed upon, like that has to definitely be communicated. And the reason why I'm saying that is because also like I'll use my parents. I feel this, okay, you know what? Perfect example. I'll use my parents. I feel like they might have had similar levels of ambitions. I would say my mom is a lot more ambitious than my dad, but it wasn't like they're trying to build a business. It wasn't like they were trying to do this or that or whatever. They had, actually, my parents worked at the exact same job for years. They worked at the exact same job, and they did the same position. They had the same position at the same place, okay? They were coworkers. And my mom was, they actually moved into a home together. Well, before they actually moved into the home together, okay, this is like I was already born or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But my mom had a house, and because my dad didn't feel like he had any kind of ownership over this house, he didn't really felt the need to contribute to the house. And so my mom was like, okay, well, let's go get a house together, you know. So they went and got a house, or I think it was like under my dad's name or something like that, because he felt the need to, like, in order to do anything or contribute, he had to have some kind of ownership over this house or whatever. But here's the thing, my parents lacked a sense of communication, okay? Because like my mom, you know, felt the need to like always constantly help him, and like again, they had they had the same job, they worked at the same place, had the same position, got paid similar. I don't know if it was like to the penny if it was the same, but I know they had similar paychecks. They moved into a place together, and this is when we lived out in Pahrump actually. And somehow my dad expected my mom to basically buy all the furniture, buy all the things to decorate the house, and still pay half the bills. It was so weird, okay? Like, okay, so you expect me to do all this extra stuff, right? we have similar paychecks, but like you still expect me to do all this. And my mom was just like, okay, like she was just trying to like not like make a fuss out of it or whatever. And then somehow my dad still didn't have enough to pay out child support. So my mom was actually helping him pay for his child support. My mom would go zero every fucking like week trying to help my dad.
Paycheck to paycheck.
She was paycheck to paycheck or whatever. And then one day they decided to go out or whatever. And they decided to go out. My mom's like, oh, I don't have money to pay for whatever, right? And my dad's like, oh, it's okay. He pulls out a fucking 100 from his wallet. And my mom was like, you're okay for me to go zero every fucking week, but you just have extra money and I'm over here helping you? Like, my mom's over here. And my mom was also like, she got involved with like, I think it was like Princess House and like all that. My mom was actually like, okay, like I'm going zero every week, so I need to find a way to get more money. Okay. So she was over here doing all this extra and helping my dad still pay for half the bills because he had this 50-50 mentality, but not 50-50 in everything. It was 50-50 in the bills.
Only in finances.
Yeah, only finance it. But he still expected my mom to be a traditional wife, cook, clean, do everything, right?
That's where the issue is.
But somehow, and my mom still had the heart to help him pay for his child support, and she's going zero. So she's over here like, what do I need?
Because your mom has a big caring heart,
and she was like trying to figure out what the hell to do to help or whatever. Yeah. And then when she found out that my dad was just over here, Mr. All complacent and having money in his wallet, but not like trying to like, okay, how can I help so that my wife is not going zero every fucking week or whatever? No, he's just like has extra money in his wallet, como si nada. And my mom said that that's where she knew. She's like, girl, she was like, I had the biggest fucking headache after I saw that he had all that money in his wallet. She's like, I had a big old headache. And she's like, that's when I knew. She's like, I knew that we like weren't going to work out. Because my mom also was very much a like, what do I need to do? It wasn't just like, oh, we're broke. Yeah. That's it. It was more like, what do I need to do to make sure to cover everything? And she's like, if I'm going to have this much stress with a partner, she's like, why? I was like, I might as well have that stress alone without the extra baggage.
Yeah, that's true.
And she was just like, it's not going to work.
That's true.
It is not going to work. And my mom was willing to do anything to make sure that we had a roof over our head and food on our plate. And my dad was just like, he just had that like, oh, we're broke. And that was that.
But I feel like there's still like, even though you said they had similar ambition, I think your mom still had much more ambition than your dad.
Well, I said they were similar in the sense of that they weren't over here like trying to do they weren't trying to do anything outside of their jobs. Okay. Like it wasn't like building a business or anything, but it was like similar in that sense.
Like they were working the same position and everything like that.
Yeah, but put under pressure, that's why I was like, my mom still had way more ambition in the sense of like, I need to do what I need to get done to like take care of my daughters. Yeah.
And also, like, different ways, like, of what they value. Because I feel like your mom was always like, let me help. How can I help? How can I help? How can I help? And your dad was like, oh, whoopsie-doo.
Yeah. And I was just kind of like, whoa. I was like, Mom, I'm so glad. Like, as much as, like, it hurt me, like, to have my parents not together or whatever in a lot of ways, I still understood that, like, she had to do what she had to do for her, I think. But it just, I'm trying to put myself in my mom's position. I would have absolutely done the same thing. Yeah. Because how the fuck am I going zero every fucking week and you got extra money in your thing? Like, not even 10.
And we're going 50-50. And we have the same job. Yeah, no, girl.
It's insane. I was like, whoa. When I found that out, I was like, Dad, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's why, like, you
just have to be understanding of, like, what the situation is going to be. Like, if you guys come to the conclusion that you're okay going zero every week while your spouse has, like, extra money in their wallet and you're okay with that, that's okay. But, like, have that level of communication and understanding that, like, that this is what we want and we're going to be happy with that. Which I have a suspicion that not very many people are going to be happy with that. But
I sure wouldn't.
But if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. But at the end of the day, like, if you're okay with the ambition not matching and that's what you want and you're going to be happy with that, then. But at the same time, like, don't say you are happy with it and then become resentful. And you know what I'm saying? There has to be that understanding, communication.
Yeah. Like, also don't stay with somebody just because, like, you're being alone. And that plays into that, too. That they're like, me aguanto, you know? Like, even though we don't match perfectly in this or whatever. No, come on. So, yeah, it's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good topic.
All right, guys.
Ahí los dejamos.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys.
Dejen
We have
chisme.
dejan chisme. We haven't been getting a lot of submissions. I think there's one that we did get. We're gonna get to it. I promise. We just want more people to submit too, so that
Yeah.
way we can give you guys like a good handful.
Tell us your juicy chisme, or are we like on just not going through?
Maybe people don't have chisme right now.
Maybe.
Actually, I have a lot of family chisme, but I'm not gonna
Out everybody.
I'm not gonna out everybody because that shit was wild. Edith, tell me that shit
That shit was wild. That's just, we had like a little let's catch up with each other. And that shit was wild. So yeah. So yeah, submit your chisme, guys, please.
If you're on YouTube, the link will be down below, or you can always go onto our Instagram. There'll be a link in a bio.
Yes. If you're watching on YouTube, you already know. Comment, like, and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Especially like, share this to your like bestie or tu amigo or algo así, que you think that they would enjoy the episode. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, make sure to leave a 5-star review. Anything less,
You're gonna DM us.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit the DMs.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it.
exactly.
So anyways, ahí los vamos a dejar. Que Dios los bendiga.
Besitos.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.